Next question is if I have it's about having a website in one place and a blog in another, and what SEO impact that brings.
It can depend. It really is about the links, and if you have them at different domain names, but they're cross-linked between your regular site and your blog, that can be fine. At a certain point, you're splitting hairs. I think if you're selling enlargement pills online, then SEO is really, really complicated, and you have to pay a lot of attention to it. For any normal business where you're saying, I want to be, Massachusetts area real estate, or I want to be Dallas area law, usually just using those terms well and linking to them between your site and your blog is more than enough to have you show up
Yes.
prominently in the search engines.
Yes, the days of just writing posts with the words mortgages, casinos, and Viagra are over, thank goodness.
Yes.
Next question is, I'm completely new to the web. Where do I get graphics for my sites?
Oh, that's a good question. There are a couple different ways to do it. What I don't recommend is just Googling, doing Google image search and finding a picture and taking the first picture you find and putting it on your site, right. Because you probably don't have permissions. Well, one very effective thing, if you're looking for photographic imagery, is Flickr. Yahoo's Flickr site is a photo sharing site, has a search option that lets you search for images you can use commercially. What you do is you go to flickr.com, F-L-I-C-K-R. You go to Advanced Search, and they have a checkbox under a section called License or Creative Commons that just says search for images that I can use, that I can put to commercial use. That's a really, really handy option. There are millions of photos. Almost any common topic you'll be able to find. If you want to search for images, you can use that way. If you're looking more for things like clip art or stock art, I find is a lot of people use the clip art that comes with Microsoft Office. Or with Apple's iWork suite. Like these common Office applications actually include a lot of clip art still, and you can take those images and save those and usually use them. There are also some services for licensing photos. If you want to have something a little more distinctive, you can go to a site like iStockPhoto, which is iStockPhoto.com, and search for something, and for a couple dollars, a really inexpensive cost, you can probably find exactly what image you want. And it's worth investing in. I mean, I think there's a lot of artists doing great work online that are charging very, very reasonable prices. It's not like the old days where, stock photography is going to cost you thousands of dollars. They just want kind of a fair value for an image, and there's plenty of great options out there.
And a cool bonus about iStockPhoto, because it's one of my favorite sites, I think, ever, is they have user forums where if you have a special request, I think one time I said, I need this light bulb picture, but I need it from this perspective instead of that perspective. And within a matter of days, I'd had 3 other photographers say, hey, I was playing around, and here's some examples of what you might be able to use. So you can do requests as well. So I really love iStockPhoto. It's a great site. Let's see. Other questions before we wrap up? There's a question about trackbacks. And that's always a difficult thing to explain. Do you have a short explanation for that, Daniel?
Yes. Trackback is a system that was made about 5 years ago that lets your blog show when someone has created a link to it. And it's a little tricky to understand, but one of the things that's important about blogging is that conversations happen between different sites. So you write something interesting, somebody else might link to it, as we showed with that example of, if you want to establish your expertise as a CFO, you might link to a story at MSNBC. Now, the great thing is your site can show when someone has linked to you. Now, the issue with that is that, of course, as with everything on the web, there can be spam or other problems like that. And so trackbacks have become a little less popular than they used to be because spammers had taken over for a while. The good news is on typepad, we block all that spam automatically for trackbacks, comments, anything else. So you don't need to worry about it. As a user, the only thing you have to understand is if somebody sends a trackback to your site to say, hey, I linked to it, it'll automatically show up. You don't have to do anything. If you link to someone else, it'll automatically send that message out. There are some rare cases where you have to manually put in the address of the site that you're sending a trackback to. The reality is, in the modern world, that doesn't happen much anymore. And so most of it's just 99% automatic. If you link to somebody and their site supports trackback, your site will automatically send it to them, and vice versa.
Pretty automated, and a lot of the blogging technology that's evolved in the past several years is about making all of these connections between websites, much more visible both to the blogger and the reader and the audience for all these different blogs that are out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's gotten a lot easier. I mean, I look at that same thing of the subscribe to this site link that's on, every typepad blog. It used to be we had to understand RSS and all this other kind of technology about XML and feeds and all this terminology. And now it's just you click on that link and you probably get a button that says, do you want to subscribe in Google or do you want to subscribe in Yahoo or in AOL? And you click that button and it automatically is delivering those headlines to your My Yahoo page or your Google page.
Yeah, there's a question about if I change my blog name and address, does my content move over with my typepad blog? And
Yep.
I know that if I domain map my blog, which is taking it from being johnsmith.typepad.com to johnsmithincorporated.com, that all of those links and the content will still carry over.
Yep. Yeah. If you put your site on its own domain name, all your content will automatically be moved over. You don't need to worry about anything there.
All right, well, we're going to wrap it up then. Reminder, folks, we'll have the recording for this call out hopefully today or tomorrow. Again, that discount code was going to typepad.com, and the discount code is A as in Apple, D as in Daniel, and then 610, AD 610. And if you want to know more about typepad, please, by all means, check it out. Shoot us an email. Let us know. Our next call is going to be on the 15th at the same time, at 11 Pacific. And it's about the successful tactics for a small business blog. So I hope you will join us for that particular call. We do have a whole series of these calls coming up. And Anil, anything else to add before we sign off?
Just first of all, Andy, thank you for being a great host as always. And more importantly, thank you to all of you for attending. We really do love the chance to talk about the way these tools can be used. I hope it shows that we are more excited than ever about the idea that people can build their businesses and make themselves more successful as entrepreneurs by using the technologies we create. It's the reason I got started in this line of work was because I thought people can communicate better and more effectively using these tools. So we are just thrilled and excited that all of you have taken the time to learn how to do more with them. We hope you'll share your stories with us. We'd love to feature them on blogs.com or as featured typepad blogs. So thank you all very, very much for joining us today, and we hope to see you at our next seminar.
Yep, I'm going to unmute so we can all say goodbye to each other. 1 second. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Have a great rest of the week.
Bye, thank you.
See you in a couple weeks. Bye, folks.